our senses start telling us that we need to eat. We trigger off feeding response. Now what has been found is that in the hypothalamus, this is an area just before, beneath the cerebral hemispheres, you have the diencephalon, the thalamus in the walls, and the hypothalamus underneath. In the hypothalamus, in the lateral area of the hypothalamus, there is a group of cells that seem to be involved in controlling our feeding behavior, in stimulating food. So that when all these cells that sense the levels of various things in our blood get active, they feed excitation into the lateral hypothalamic area and trigger off hunger. And that hunger response in the lateral hypothalamus triggers off feeding activity. Seeking food and feeding. Yes, sir.
Sir, so if you always
what's wrong with your lateral hypothalamus?
Yes, sir. What if you always hungry, sir?
What's that?
When you always hungry?
Well, let's see how it goes. So, the lateral hypothalamus, when it's stimulated, an animal who is not particularly hungry, if you put an electrode in the lateral hypothalamic area and stimulate it, the animal will start feeding, or will start looking around for food. If you stimulate that area hard enough, not only will the animal start looking for food and eat if there is food available, but the animal gets antsy, gets itchy, gets uncomfortable, gets aggressive, and gets... Because of course these are things that have to do, and these animals, these experiments are done on cats. And if you're a cat, you hunt. And so when you are hungry, you're going to have to go out and look food, which means that you may have to kill something. So, you know they say a hungry man is an angry man. You find that stimulating that lateral hypothalamic center causes rage, and you do it strongly enough. If you were not to stimulate it, but to burn it out, pass a strong current, burn out that area. What do you think happens? Loss of appetite. The animals just don't eat, they waste away. They mom it out. Okay, but let's go on. It turns out that there is another area in the same hypothalamic region, but in the ventral and medial aspect of the hypothalamus. Have an area there, has a group of cells that when you stimulate them, produces satiety. Animal is cool, life is good. That is called the ventromedial satiety center. And if you were to do the same thing, instead of stimulating it, you burn it out, killing all the cells in that area. What do you think happens? He's always hungry. He's a little irritated, hungry, eats, and becomes obese. Interesting thing though, is the animals don't just continue to get fatter and fatter and fatter. After they reach a certain stage, it levels out. It's as if the set point has changed. You know, you eat and then you get satisfied, you stop eating. Balance between the lateral and medial hypothalamus helps to regulate that. And if you burn out the medial area, the set point changes and the animal eats more until it gets to a bigger weight before it stops eating. So, what is it that controls that new set point? Obviously, there are some other factors involved. Thing is that feeding is a very complex, and it is controlled by many things. It has short-term feedback loops that control your feeding immediately, and it has long-term feedback loops that control your overall weight gain or what weight you end up at. Long-term feeding. comes in. And it is the playing out of the balance between all of these things that helps to determine what way people come back. It's not a simple business. Okay? So it gets very complex. There are numerous feedback pathways exerting short and long-term control over hunger and satiety. These factors act through the hypothalamic centers that we spoke about governing hunger and satiety. And here we see a number of the feedback pathways that are involved. We have a hormone called ghrelin that is secreted by the stomach. That hormone is secreted if we haven't eaten for a long time. And it stimulates feeding. Okay, so that's something that tells you, listen man, stomach shrinking. You're not eating enough, you need to eat some more. We have hormones like insulin that are released when you have had a big meal and your amino acid, fats and sugar levels are high in the blood, you release lots of insulin. So what effect will insulin have?